What's up? Welcome to Walking Dead Season 3. We're finally on to Season 3, and I hope you join me. My name is Beckham the White Tiger, and I hope you join me on this journey as we recap Season 3. The last time we did the first two seasons of The Walking Dead, highly enjoyable, so now we do Season 3. So Season 3 starts off with, it's been 18 months since the ending of last season. Rick decided that there was going to be no say in anyone's decision making. This is a Rick-tatorship. So Lori is now further along in her pregnancy. Carl doesn't like Lori because for some reason. And also so the team is just eating for dog food and eating dog food and living in houses till they find a prison where it's run by a bunch of walkers. So they take out these walkers all on their own, like badasses should, and kill all these walkers handily. Where Herschel accidentally gets bitten by a walker. Yeah, remember Herschel? Yeah, he gets bitten by a walker. Where Rick has to cut his leg open, giving Herschel some leads Herschel to knock himself out for a couple of episodes, for like 2 episodes until he comes back, and he has crutches now. Then they accidentally meet some humans who are in this prison, have no idea what the zombie apocalypse is, and Rick and the gang has to teach them about the zombie apocalypse. One guy so we have Oscar and 2 other guys. We have Oscar, Andrew, and another guy. We have 4 guys. One of the guys looks like David Spade or he also looks like Frank Gallagher. His name is Axel. So yeah, his name is Axel. So Rick and gang have to teach them about the zombie apocalypse. One guy, they have no idea how to fight the zombies, so Rick decided to teach them. They decide not to listen to Rick, and one guy decides to swing against Rick and tries to say about how he tries to swing against the zombie. So what does Rick do? He axes this guy to the head. Dead. So then what happens? So then what happens is that there are 2 other guys. Rick decides to leave Andrew all by himself to be hoarded by zombies. And this new guy named Oscar joins the team. So then in episode 3, we get an Andrea and Michonne episode. Who is Michonne? She's this badass looking lady with a sword who saved Andrea at the end of last season. She is these weird looking jaw zombies. So they're just hanging on their own for 18 months. Andrew's getting sick because she hasn't had anything to eat or drink since those 18 months. And that's when they're picked up by Merle. Yeah, Merle. Remember him from season 1? He now has remember him? He got left off on the roof by Rick and gang and then had to cut his own arm off to survive. Yeah, now he has like this blade. Now his arm has been replaced by machinery and an arm thing. So he takes them to meet the governor, the main villain of the season, who we don't know as the main villain. So Andrea starts falling for him, but Michonne starts thinking, this guy's pretty weird. Yeah. So a plane car, so the episode actually starts off with a plane crash. They kill the guy, but then keep the other guy alive. But that was only for the governor, so we could find out where this guy's whole military base is and shoot them all. Yeah, so Michonne was right to not trust this guy, as this guy finds out where all the military bases are and kills them all, and basically takes all their truck, basically lying to the people, saying, "Yo, Woodbury people, these guys just gave us all their military equipment, yay!" And these Woodbury people, including Andrea, buy into this. But Michonne's being like, why would military guys why would military guys give this guy, the governor, military equipment? She doesn't confront. So yeah, but then it's later revealed that. So yeah, so it's later says that the governor, that the guy that he was telling you died, but it's revealed that the governor actually has his head in a jar. Dun dun, head in a jar. So yeah, so meanwhile, back with the prison gang, Lori's starting to give birth. So as she's so Carol is practicing how to do a C-section, but when it comes down to it, zombies bite T-Dog. Yeah, zombies bite T-Dog, so he has to sacrifice himself and get eaten by zombie. R.I.P. T-Dog. You were there for 3 seasons, and you were there for 3 seasons, and you were a great character. Sad to see T-Dog go. But this Oscar guy is like, yo, dude, can I become your T-Dog? And Rick's like, so this Oscar guy, this Andrew guy, the guy that Rick fed the zombie, shows up again and decides he wants to shoot Rick. But then Oscar shoots, leaving him for dead. So Lori's giving birth, but Maggie decides to, and Carl has to watch his mom die as Lori cuts the baby out of it. There's no choice, but Maggie has to perform a C-section on Lori, possibly killing Lori. The baby does survive. Lori loses a lot of blood, dies. Carl has to prevent her from shooting. Prevent her from turning into a zombie. Carl has to shoot his mom, and seems a little scarred about it. But when Rick finds out, he does not take it well. He just starts saying no, and then goes on a zombie killing spree with an axe. And Rick's basically out of it for most of the season. So Daryl takes up the leadership role while Rick's out of it, and Rick also envisions his dead wife most of the time. So that's where Rick loses it. Meanwhile, in Woodbury, Michonne doesn't trust the governor. The governor is also keeping secrets of his own. He has a zombie daughter that he still thinks he can save. That's why he keeps her around. He tries to make her remember him, but she's too bit zombified to work. So yeah, so Michonne, not trusting the governor, decides that she wants to leave Woodbury, and she wants to take Andrea with her, knowing that this place isn't safe. But Andrea, liking Woodbury and thinking it's a safe haven, decides to stay with Andrea going. So he sends Merle and the gang to kill Michonne. So Michonne decided to leave Woodbury because she didn't trust it and she thought Andrea would come with her, but Andrea, wanting a safe place because of all the zombies, decides to stay in Woodbury. So Michonne decides to leave, where she bumps into Glenn and Maggie. And Glenn and Maggie are buying formula for the baby, but that's when they're bumped into Merle trying to find Michonne. So they get kidnapped, and and Governor tries to lie to the governor, saying that that Michonne killed his men, and then Michonne killed their men, and then that Merle killed Michonne, and he's like, where's the head? And he's like, I don't have it right now. So yeah. So Michonne decides to make it to the prison to see Rick and group, and it's basically like, dude, Woodbury there's a guy named the Governor, he's evil, and I think Merle has your friends. And Daryl's like, Merle, my brother? And he's like, yeah. So they decide to break up rescue mission. The governor decides to torture him. So Maggie has to hear as Merle beats him up and decides to send a zombie after him, but they're able to defeat it. The governor decides to strip Maggie naked and tries to rape her, but then puts her face to the floor, so they're like, hey, where your friends are, and for them not to hurt Glenn even anymore, she tells them they're in the prison. So they capture Daryl. Andrea has to watch as Daryl and the gang get into a fight, get into a fight with Merle because he discovered because Michonne decides to be there to kill the governor, right? But then she discovers the governor's daughter, Penny. But then he's like, don't hurt his daughter. But she's like, she's not your daughter, and kills. She's not your daughter, and kills him. But then he kills her. But then he gets through the mouth with a sword. But then he gets into a fight. They get into a fight. She decides to drive up. Instead of Slade's of Oliver's doing and driving to an arrow through Slade's eye, she decided to drive a glass through the governor's eye. Glass. I'm gonna find out. I can't say glass. It's glass. Through the governor's eye, and then when Michonne sees him, she's like, what'd you do to him? And she's like, he's evil, and they part ways. So the governor decides to get a Danzo Naruto's like, Shippuden's like, and heal. And he then shows his Kakashi eye scar. So this basically broke the governor, and he basically becomes evil from now on. So now they decided to with Governor Evil and Merle now banned from Woodbury, Merle has to stick it out with Rick and Gang. But Rick and Gang don't want Merle. And Daryl, now having his brother back, has an obligation to his brother. But they don't want Merle. So he's like, if you don't want Merle, you don't want me. And he's like, what am I supposed to tell Carolyn? Because they found Carol. So meanwhile, we have these three survivors and their son, who Rick finds, but then Rick sees Lori, so he has to, so Carl treats him like, so the governor decides to attack the prison, killing Axel. No, not Axel. Yeah, another death count. So Daryl and Rose decide to go on their own because so they find some people and Mexicans trapped in a car with a baby, but because of Merle's racist tendencies, he decides to leave them. But then Daryl's like, no, I'm going to rescue them. So the governor decides to shoot up all the people, including Axel. R.I.P. Axel. Yeah. And R.I.P. Oscar. He was dead in the Woodbury raid that the gang made to say Daryl. R.I.P. T-Dog 2. Or Oscar. Or no, not Oscar. Yeah, Oscar. So governor basically shuts down completely. Decides to be like, Andrea, if you want to go, you can go. But if you want to stay, you can stay. He's still going to be evil. So she decides to stay and rally up the people. And he's like, some people are like, why would they leave you in charge? And she's like, because. So anyway, he's like, hey, let her go back to the prison. And he's like, so she goes. So Andrea goes back to the prison. Actually, also there's an episode about. So let's talk about that episode 11, the filler episode about Morgan. remember Morgan back in season 1? Yeah, he has a whole episode about himself where he has taken control of this entire town, but he's kind of out of it, like Rick. But Rick's able to talk him down his senses, and he reveals that back when he should have killed his wife, But then his wife came back and bit his son and killed him. Then he killed his wife. So yes, but then Carl's like, hey dude, I'm sorry for shooting you earlier, and he's like, so they decide to go back to their town, Rick's hometown, to where his mom and her friend used to meet up, and they discovered this picture of the three of them from like years ago. So Baby Judith, which is her name, it's not little ass kicker as Dale called her, it's Baby Judith. Still kind of funny. So, because it's named after Carl's old homeroom teacher, Judith. So, yeah, her name is Judith Grimes. So, yeah, so before Rick and the other guys, so Tyrese, his sister, and their friends were going to rob Rick blind and kill his entire family and take over the prison. But then Rick decided to have an outburst about Lori, which caused them to leave and basically end up in the governor's side, and the governor basically tricks them by saying, yeah, Rick and his friends have caused us trouble. Do you want to become the people that take them out? And he's like, yeah, we do, Mr. Governor. But they call them walkers. So Andrea decides to go to the prison, decides to go to the prison, and is like, and Rick basically lays her down the line. He's like, your governor has been evil. He's been attacking us. He's been lying to you about us attacking him, but not really. He's been attacking us. And then she speaks to Carl, and she's like, hey, Andrea, why don't you just kill the governor, sleep with him, then pretend to kill him? So she basically lies and pretends to kill him, but then doesn't, because she thinks that she doesn't kill the governor, because in Andrea's own way, she thinks that she can redeem the governor. Yeah, there's no redeeming that guy. So, yeah. So Merle has officially become part of. So Merle and the governor basically have a group chat, and basically they reveal that Andrea finally puts two together that the governor is a really bad monster. So she wants to leave him, but she doesn't want to leave the people behind. And now that she's been dating him for like quite a while, and she and Michonne had like a scene together where he basically tried to say, what did you tell the group? And he's like, I told them the truth. And so governor's like, Rick, I'll leave your prison alone if you give me Michonne, because he wants to give Michonne for some revenge, but Rick doesn't tell them that, and it's like, hey, the gang's preparing for war. Let's prepare for war. But he does tell Merle and them, but Merle decides to fulfill on Rick's promise by taking Andrea to the governor, right? But then he decides to get a redemption arc this season, and decides to instead sacrifice himself by trying to kill the governor, but he kills one of the governor's men's son. So the governor shoots him, turning Merle into a zombie, where Daryl has to shoot Merle. R.I.P. Merle. At least Merle was able to get redemption in this show. So meanwhile, during that, Milton tells the tech guy of Woodbury, tells Andrea that there was no peace treaty. Merle, the governor only said there was no deal. Merle, he wants Michonne, so she decides to run. Well, the governor's like, she first tries to shoot the governor, but then Milton's like, yo, you can't shoot the governor. There could be a pointed friend that I knew, that I knew was once in there, but there's not, Milton. There's really not. Your friend's gone, dude. I'm sorry, but the governor, Philip Blake, the one that you knew, was dead when his daughter died. Michonne killed your friend, and only the bloodthirsty governor remains. So he decides to basically decides to capture Andrea, and basically tells all the townspeople that work in the gang are gonna point a war against them. So Carl's mad at Rick because Rick's mad at Carl. Carl's mad at Rick for some reason so they decided to governor basically said go and attack all the gang. Decides to go in full force and burn and attack all the people. So then what happens is they attacks all the but then they come out and drive them away. But then the other people are like, we don't want to do that. And he's like, and then Governor also lied and said that Ricky and his friends killed the kid's son, but it was really Merle. And he's like, these guys killed my son, but he's like, well, they'll kill you then. He kills all of them, except for this person named Karen, who stays alive and is basically able to tell Tyrese and his sister Sasha that Rick and the gang are not evil, and that the governor is the true bad guy. So meanwhile, Andrew gets captured as the governor. The governor is like, hey, Milton, you'll kill Andrea. But then what happens is that Milton tries to kill the governor, but then the governor kills Milton, saying, hey, as you turn into a zombie, you'll slowly rip the face off of Andrea, killing her. But then he laid some pliers behind to let her go, but he keeps turning, and then he eventually turns, and then the gang reveals that she was bit, but she also took down Milton. So Andrea decides to kill herself because she would turn into a zombie anyway by Andrea, and to save all the people. And Carl's like, what is this? So meanwhile, Carl and Herschel ran into this kid who had this gun, and he was about to give the gun, but then Carl shoots this kid in the head. Carl tries to blame it as he was only defending himself, but Herschel's like, dude, Carl murdered an innocent child. So then Rick's like, really? You murdered an innocent child, Carl? This is not how I taught you. And he's like, he had a gun. And he's like, after what happened with Mom and the childbirth and Anne. So he leaves. So everything happened this season. So he leaves. But then they let all the people from Woodbury into the prison, and that's where season 3 comes to an end. I enjoyed this season really much. Like, we had the governor is still at large. But he's still large in the season. Season 4 will probably deal with him. Hopefully, we finally get the end of the governor, because he's awful. We thought we have redemption. So we had a lot of deaths this season. We had the death of Lori, the death of T-Dog, the death of Merle, and the death of a bunch of other characters. So anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time for season 4 of The Walking Dead.